It starts out gradually. You may get headaches, become irritable, go through mood swings, or snap at the people around you. Maybe you don't want to do the things that you usually do to relieve some stress, whether it's sex or drugs. At times, you may feel your senses heightened to the point where you can taste the 1001 flavors of locust pepperoni pizza. You start forgetting things. You feel like you're wading through time as if it was made of molasses. Sometimes you swear you can't see into a mirror, or at least see yourself in the mirror. And for some reason, idiots point out that you're acting differently than usual, but maybe they're in on what's been gnawing away at your suspicious mind. Finally, you get fed up with it all, with every dumb little piece of shit gong brain that seems to get in your way. Maybe flatlining them would not only help, but be a mercy to their insignificant little lives. And maybe you just don't give a damn anymore about yourself either. In this lore video, we're going to delve into the most famous ailment in the Cyberpunk universe, cyberpsychosis. We'll be looking at the causes and symptoms, the potential cure or therapies available for cyberpsychotic individuals, and prominent examples of cyberpsychotic individuals more commonly referred to as cyberpsychos. If you want to know more about Cyberpunk lore, definitely hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos and check out our previous lore videos on the game. Cyberpsychosis is described in the Cyberpunk Red Sourcebook as a dissociative disorder which occurs when someone with pre-existing psychopathic tendencies enhances themselves via cybernetics to the point they no longer see themselves or others as complete sapient organisms, but simply as a collection of replaceable parts. According to a shard titled Cyberware Usage and Side Effects, base symptoms of just cyberware implementation can include your body's immune system rejecting implants causing scar tissue, pain, and inflammation that can also interfere with the cyberware's circuits. Neurological implants can also cause unpredictable changes in the brain, which often include an increase in apathy, hallucinations, and addictive behaviors like taking drugs or gambling. And of course, long-term usage of certain synthetic body part replacements can change the brain's chemistry to make it accustomed to a particular type of implant. There are reported cases of permanent blindness after patients attempted to replace their Kiroshi optical implants with different models. On top of these regular symptoms, cyberpsychosis can occur in various individuals with a variety of backgrounds at varying levels. Common symptoms of cyberpsychosis can include the following, though not necessarily always. First, a lack of self-preservation, complete disregard for other individuals, poor impulse control, loss of pain sensory, explosive and often emotional outbursts, headaches or other bodily symptoms that manifest as a result of the stress of using certain cybernetic implants, a lack of interest in previous activities such as sex, socializing, or even sleeping, a lack of interest in food, high irritability with human interactions, physical violence towards living things, not necessarily just humans, and self-isolation with paranoia. Cyberpsychosis is notably less common in human females than human males, according to Regina Jones in the year 2077, when V is hunting down a cyberpsycho that's been overtaken by delusions of grandeur, committing a blood ritual in Night City. This may explain why the database or encountering of cyberpsychos tend to turn out to be male cyberpsychos more often than female ones. Lastly, not all cyberware contribute to a potential case of cyberpsychosis. From the early 2020s to the late 2040s, medical-grade cyberware was available and presumably still available in 2077 as an alternative to enhancement cyberware, specifically for people who just wanted limb replacements for basic functionality after amputation or being born without limbs. People undergoing gender affirmation surgery or other forms of therapeutic body modification also have no need to worry about cyberpsychosis, as only cyberware used to replace perfectly functional body parts or enhance the body beyond the human baseline can push someone towards cyberpsychosis. Oftentimes, many people wonder what makes the difference for reaching the threshold of cyberpsychosis is between individuals like David Martinez, V, Maine, and the cyberpsychos we can pacify or eliminate in 2077. This was answered in part by Michael Pondsmith, the creator of Cyberpunk, in a Reddit post. First of all, cyberpsychosis is a disorder that in part depends on the subject's overall internal susceptibility. Just like every person who drinks a lot at parties doesn't end up an alcoholic in the gutter, not everyone who gets loaded up on cyberware is going to automatically go cyberpsycho. You have to have an inherent susceptibility, which in the TRPG is represented by the player's humanity stat. Humanity is not just a measure of one aspect of personality, but an overall measure of several elements, including the subject's ability to empathize and relate with others, their ability to absorb and rebound from mental and physical stressors, their ability to show compassion and flexibility to others, and whether they are able to balance their worldview through other methods. So, in some ways, I tend to treat cyberware as an addiction, heavy anabolic steroid use being my favorite model. Not everyone who juices ends up crazy mad with roid rage, but those who are more susceptible to the need to take more steroids are more likely to hit a point where they do flip into roid rage. David's starting humanity was probably already pretty high, and before things went to crap, he had a loving mother, a career path, and no more hassle than the average poor guy in a wealthy Ivy League school. So he had lots of buffer, but even so, he still, even after losing all that, was able to make friends, build a replacement family, and after some prompting, even get a girlfriend, and a mentor, or main, to recreate a supportive father figure. So he could definitely handle the stress of added cyberware up to a point. Most people in Night City don't have the level of humanity to pull this kind of stunt off without going cyberpsychotic. So David is 1 in a million, and that's why Arasaka wants him. V is a different case. We don't know V's background, but even if V was a full-on corpo, they were able to hold it together even when they ended up with a dead rocker boy in their heads. In fact, having Johnny in their head probably helped V because Silverhand's rage and attitude probably acted as a buffer for the psychological hits V is taking. It's like having a timeshare with a guy who's already half cyberpsycho and doesn't mind if V slaps stuff on their shared body. He's already crazy and violent. Pondsmith also added that contrary to some community theories that cyberpsychosis isn't caused by AI net demons. Pondsmith's elaboration is very clearly backed up by the myriad of cyberpsychos we encounter in 2077. We have a former military veteran father who's gone cyberpsycho when trying to rescue his kidnapped daughter. We have a celebrity, we have a shop owner, we have a construction worker, and so forth. It also seems some cyberpsychos we encounter aren't even shooting up public spaces. Quite a few of them even seem to isolate themselves and plant minefields or hole up in the building, keeping to themselves after relatively quiet incidents of either violence or domestic disturbances. Some are netrunners who don't lose all reason or strategic thinking, as evident by the netrunner cyberpsycho in 2077, who traps you with 2 automated turrets in an encampment under a bridge. Others are already clearly off the deep end, with disturbing delusions of testing people or sacrificing others to achieve some sort of pseudo-godhood. What's really interesting is that what ties all of these individuals together is the trauma and external pressure that pushes them to the brink or past the edge of cyberpsychosis. When we investigate these cyberpsycho scenes, we can piece together stories of crushing debt, unpaid bills, forced cyberware implementation, extreme physical torture, being pushed close to death, and so on and so on. Some of the themes of societal pressure on the average person in the universe of Cyberpunk can certainly be sympathized with, especially when we watch David Martinez and Edgerunners take hit after hit from life, and it makes sense that given his personality and upbringing, he would be more resilient, though not immune, just like V, to cyberpsychosis. One could also say Night City legends like Morgan Blackhand, who has not been confirmed to be a cyberpsycho, could also have a similar background to David or V in terms of not possessing an inherent susceptibility to cyberpsychosis. This is actually perhaps the scariest part about cyberpsychosis, that any one of us with that susceptibility pushed too hard by a demanding life in Night City or other cyberpunk societies could just simply lose it anytime, anywhere, even more so at an increased frequency than many in our own reality have without cyber implants. As explained by the anonymous writer of the shard called The Truth About Cyberpsychosis, I've had enough of the senseless shootings that claim hundreds of innocents every day. I'm sick of the satire on empty, dead-end, implant restriction dialogue. I'm tired of ignoring the cyberpsychosis problem. In American society today, there is still a lot of common myths and misconceptions about the so-called technology-related personality disorders. People think they can become infected in sketchy Ripper-Doc clinics. Scientists allegedly disagree about the causes of the disease, or even about whether it exists at all. Maybe their tune would change if a cyberpsycho turned their lab into a slaughterhouse, but even then, I doubt it. They're not getting fat paychecks from the cyberware lobby just to openly declare to the public all the nasty possible side effects that come packaged with their products. I've conducted my own research on cyberpsychosis. With supreme confidence, I can confirm this illness is indeed a byproduct of the modern lifestyle and the obsessive emphasis placed on incorporating modern tech into our lives. Although cybernetic implants can directly affect our brain chemistry, they still serve only as a catalyst for the onset of the disease. Our world is subject to extensive dehumanization. We surround ourselves with increasingly more automated machines and artificial intelligences. Our loved ones replace their nature-given eyes, lips, and faces with masks of metal. Some of us begin to lose sight of what is human. We slip into feelings of total alienation and deep-rooted panic. We lose the ability to distinguish what is real and what is only artificial, digital, synthetic. Such people begin to isolate themselves, lose their empathy for others, and undergo dramatic mood swings that exhibit sadistic tendencies. The most frightening component to all of this, however, is that most will never be diagnosed. Not all cyberpsychos are known war veterans or former mercenaries equipped with Sendavistan reflex tech. Not all will go out in a blaze of gunfire with MaxTac. Many cyberpsychos in our world possess only a single implant, a knee, a liver. They are unseen, unnoticed. They lock themselves up and shut out their friends, colleagues, and loved ones. The world outside of the net and their delusions have disappeared from conscious thought. They are sick and alone, and no one is doing a thing about it. There is no eloquent summary to be made here. Let the value of this manifesto be measured by the fact that I was expelled from the Zetatech Cybernetics research team for having written it. So, is there a cure or treatment for cyberpsychosis? It really depends on who you ask. Some have lauded an extremely expensive antipsychotic drug called haloperidol, which is still questioned in terms of its effectiveness for preventing or treating cyberpsychosis. As seen in Edgerunners with both Maine and David, immunosuppressants in either liquid or pill form can exist as a mild treatment to delay the onset of cyberpsychosis as a result of pushing one's mental and physical boundaries with extremely high-grade cyberware. It's speculated that similar substances can be found in MaxTac inhalers that V uses in 2077 to restore their health, or in inhalers or stim medication that Victor Vector gives to V after installing optic implants, who states that his medication can suppress side effects. We also find out during our time in the Night City Police Department laboratories that Melissa Rory and other cyberpsycho members of MaxTac suffer from relapses and antisocial behaviors, and that NCPD doctors recommend limiting environmental stimulation while giving increased doses of neuroleptics. Based on the effectiveness of MaxTac in at least eliminating cyberpsychos and at the very least not killing more people afterwards, the neuroleptics seem to be working at least for the foreseeable future. Other medical professionals have proposed registering near cyberpsychotic individuals into a database so that they can attend mandated periodic therapy sessions to help them get away from cyberpsychosis. Some therapy practices include brain dance therapy sessions. According to a shard in 2077 titled "Can Cyberpsychosis Be Cured?", a combination of psychosurgery, medicine, aversion therapy, and potential memory tampering could help a cyberpsycho return to society. Apparently, such a therapy resulted in no symptoms of cyberpsychosis, although at the cost of the patient's former personality. Additionally, if someone does go cyberpsycho in the wild, the response from authorities in government or even corporations usually seems to be killing the cyberpsychos, as attempting to capture cyberpsychos can turn out to be disastrous. It's been hinted that when corporations send out medical teams to employees who have gone cyberpsycho, the medical teams are in fact hit squads, flatlining their targets. Perhaps the only corporation that may not do such things on the regular is Biotechnica, which apparently pioneered pharmaceuticals and therapy practices during the Fourth Corporate War, leading to the rise of medtechs. On the other hand, we have what are called psycho squads, the most well-known of which is MaxTac. Contrary to popular belief, MaxTac, or Maximum Force Tactical Division, isn't the only psycho squad potentially made up of cyber psychos out there. There's the C-SWAT, or Cybernetic Special Weapons and Tactical Squad, PsychDiv, CYB, Enforcement. These psycho squads tend to be equipped with the best armor, weaponry, vehicles, and cyberware possible to tackle cyber psycho incidents. In the rarest of scenarios, should a cyber psycho be confronted and captured by a psycho squad, they are restrained until their cyberware is completely deactivated, and then they are forcibly put into custom brain dances where cyber psychologists try to fix their fragmented consciousness in a more brute-forced way compared to what was mentioned before. It may take weeks, months, or even years, but this forced therapy could instill some stability into the cyberpsychotic individual's mental state to let them partake in some basic social functions, or in the case of high-functioning cyberpsychos, mercenary or psycho squad jobs, where their killings are legally justified or at bare minimum tolerated, like Adam Smasher or Melissa Rory. To be clear, even if this forced therapy works, it does not cure or completely get rid of cyberpsychosis, as affected individuals are permanently altered mentally unless memory wipes or tampering and destroying someone's previous personality is used, as shown by the brainwashing of Jefferson and Elizabeth Perales. There are actually more prominent or high-functioning cyberpsychotic individuals than many realize in the universe of Cyberpunk. We've already mentioned Maine of the Edgerunners, David Martinez, Adam Smasher, and Melissa Rory of MaxTac, but many didn't realize that Johnny Silverhand is also a confirmed cyberpsycho. It all makes sense once you have that context when playing through 2077. Johnny's impulsiveness, lack of care for others, and what one could easily assume to be just classic narcissism, and his violent tendencies all add up to cyberpsychosis. This is, after all, the same individual that nuked Arasaka Tower in Night City, killing over 750,000 people in the process. It's been officially stated that Adam Smasher is a high-functioning cyberpsycho, as perhaps his personality and lack of morality simply meshed well with the mental disorder. However, perhaps the most interesting cyberpsycho to look at is definitely Melissa Rory, who featured in the 2013 cinematic trailer for Cyberpunk 2077, 7 years before its launch. We can actually meet Melissa Rory during a cyberpsycho attack at the high-end clothing shop near the city center called Jinguji. After flatlining the cyberpsycho, Melissa has rather interesting things to say, which checks off all the things we've discussed so far about cyberpsychosis and those afflicted by it.
Nice work. You feel that back there? Feel his life leave his body?
Hold up a sec. Your mantis blades. Higurashi 2013s. Weren't those pulled off the market in '69? Recall they don't play well with neural processors. Poking at a part of the prefrontal cortex that shouldn't be poked at. Probably would have bought a pair myself, weren't for that.
Good eye. Had them installed years ago. They're very precise.
Huh. Thought MaxTac preferred Arasaka blades as their standard issue, but, well, seeing how you handled these wrist razors.
They're my reminder. When I see them, I see what they've sliced. Muscle, tendon, bone, even implants. Like a hot knife through butter.
But you're with the good guys now, right? You always just wipe them? You know, herd therapy can sometimes work.
Apprehending the target alive carries additional risk for bystanders. Rarely done. Very rarely.
Rarely. More like, never. How many psychos you save in your life?
Don't change the subject. You felt him die. Did you like it? That split second when the blood still flows, but his light's gone out?
Well, the adrenaline's alright, but don't think I share your level of enthusiasm. You love the hunt, love the kill. Don't matter if they're psychos or regular Joes.
Oh, we're not so different, you and I. Saw that look on your face right after. You can't hide it. Join us. Could use a few more like you.
Me, a cop? Last time I wanted that was pushing 6, maybe. Yeah, I'll think about it.
You do that. You certainly got a gift.
If you enjoyed this video on cyberpsychosis, check out what happened to North and South Korea in the Cyberpunk universe, or maybe you're curious about why healthcare is so bad in the future reality of Cyberpunk. Thank you again, Chooms, for watching, and let me know down in the comments below what subject we should talk about next. Until next time, stay Nova.